It was how Robin had been taught to live since childhood. Nothing is permanent. Transition is constant. Anywhere can be home, and anyone can be family. And you can always start over again in new places with new people. Though it might seem like a strange, even insensitive attitude to some, it reflected the essential way that Robin saw the world. Reality was a medium that he could shape and manipulate, not some fixed and rigid thing. The temperament that made him spontaneous and capable of astonishing comic insight also made him unconcerned with traditional boundaries and accepted norms. In the words of journalist Lillian Ross, who wrote extensively about Robin for The New Yorker and befriended him and became close with his family, Robin was a genius. And genius doesn't produce normal men next door who are good family men who look after their wives and children. Genius requires its own way of looking at and living in the world, and it isn't always compatible with conventional ways of living. Oh, hello there. I didn't see you guys come in. Welcome to Big Read on Kindle. So there's not really much to show you as far as a completed book. It kind of looks like this all the time. There's Robin right there. You can kind of see him. But just a really great book learning all about Robin Williams, his filmography, his life before he was famous, how he became a stand-up comic, and of course, his personal background, which, as you can see from that quote, Robin moved around a lot when he was a kid, and he always had a transitional idea of family. And I think this ties into Bitcoin, that people were talking yesterday about how they found their tribe. And our friend in Montana has no one to talk Bitcoin with, no one but us, right? We are the family. We are the family of Bitcoin. We're transitional. We move from place to place. People come and people go. People join our family. People leave our family. And we just keep moving and we just keep talking about Bitcoin. So I thought it was a great quote from Robin, and I just wanted to tie it in because I finished the book. It started out really good. I enjoyed learning about his early life and his, how he became a stand-up comic, and then all of his career. And then his career starts to sour, and his personal health starts to sour as well. Maybe all biographies are this sad. Maybe it's just Robin. But today is Monday, August 13th, 2018. My name is Thomas Hunt, and here's what's happening today in Bitcoin. Bitcoin average still takes too long to load. The price of Bitcoin is down 0.68% in the last 24 hours, with a last of 6,274, a high of 6,533, and a low of 6,262. That's $1 for 15,874 Satoshis. Let's check out the top 10 altcoins by volume. According to World Coin Index, trying to get a fresh refresh to get you the latest prices. Ethereum down 5.25%, Bitcoin Cash down 1.75%, EOS down 1.25%, Bitcoin Classic down 5.25%, Litecoin down 3.75%, Ripple down 0.75%, Dash down 6.25%, Qtum down 4.5%, Tron also down 4.5%, rounding out the top 10 altcoins. Checking at DApp Radar, where we have the most active distributed applications. IDEX is top still, but down to 1,500 users. It looks like they had about 2,600 yesterday. Fork Delta 1,200, FOMO 3D 700, Zether 494, and POWH3D, a high risk option, has 430 users. It looks like the top distributed applications have less users than the viewers of this video. We're also going to take a look later at Augur, a very popular and presumably it would be popular project that was only used by 43 people in the last 24 hours. There are 63 people watching this show live. Be sure to give us a thumbs up and a share, as you now are 20 people more than the very expensive $5 million Augur project. Checking out the top blockchains by activity. It's still the same, with EOS in the lead, BitShares following, and then Steem, followed by Ethereum, which is still overloaded, and Bitcoin, which has a capacity of 40%, 60% unused. You can support the World Crypto Network by donating Bitcoin to the QR code on your screen right now. We also accept Ethereum, Litecoin, Doge, Dash, Vertcoin, and Ethereum Classic. All of the altcoins accepted by Trezor. What a coincidence. You could also support the World Crypto Network at patreon.com/WCN, where 31 patrons are donating $234 a month to support this show. Or subscribe at patreon.com/madbitcoins, where 80 patrons are donating $483 a month to keep this show on the air. We also have our Tallycoin campaign, where we've raised $186.23 towards our goal of $1 million to help spread the word about Bitcoin. You can donate now to the QR code on your screen. We are 0.02% towards our goal. And let's check out yesterday's comments. Yesterday's comments. Yesterday's video received 179 likes. That's fantastic. Now 180. Mine helped too. But thanks so much for giving us that like. I know it's annoying. I know it's free, but it really does help YouTube promote these videos to other people. As you can see, 180 likes means that we got 1,000, almost 1,700 views. Very cool. And let's check out the comments down at the bottom. Jose Ortega says, great show today. Thanks, Jose. Christian says, I'm waiting to see what's going to happen with Quark. Oops. No, I just had a flashback. Never mind. Is this 2012? Quark coin. That's an old one. I think a lot of people have forgotten Quark coin. Max Kaiser promoted Quark coin for a while. Mario Lopez says, no bad. Maybe he means not bad. Alan Lewis writes, hey, what is the situation of Bitcoin right now? Well, you just have to watch today's show. It's live right now. And Survivalist says thanks. So thanks so much for commenting on this video. Likes and comments are very important to YouTube. Even if it's just a short comment saying good job or nice show, that really helps YouTube figure out which videos are actually being watched and enjoyed by human beings and which ones are just videos. For later, I've got Hal, but let's check it out. We must agree that this is reality. As you can see, there's a line at the when to buy, when to sell information. There's a line at the blockchain consulting, but there's no line at understanding Bitcoin. Unfortunately for us, we're in the middle box. I'm that bored guy at the middle booth trying to tell you the truth about an amazing technology that will change our future, regardless of the price and regardless of the blockchain. Reminder, in December 2013, these were the top alts. Think carefully before buying the dip on alts right now. Some won't return. And he's got a list here: Bitcoin, Litecoin, Ripple, Peercoin, Namecoin, Quark, NXT, BitShares, WorldCoin, Megacoin, PrimeCoin, Feathercoin, NovaCoin, ZetaCoin, Dogecoin, and I don't even know what DVC is at the bottom. Just a reminder, there has been a history that came before you, and we watched all these alts die. That's why we don't believe in your new alt. We've seen it before. Shout out to Bitcoin Lady from Africa. She's been on our show a couple of times. She runs the Bitcoin Center in Botswana, and she's just been awarded Best Blockchain Incubator. So congratulations to Alakanani. I think that's her name. I might have said it wrong, but I think she's great. And I love the work she's done in Botswana, spreading the word about Bitcoin. The last time that I talked to her, she was setting up the Bitcoin Center in Botswana. Very few people there have internet or access to computers, and she was going to be sharing their internet with anyone that wanted to study there. She was going to have programming classes, basic blockchain classes. She was doing a great job spreading the word about Bitcoin in Africa. So shout out to at Bitcoin Lady, Alakanani, for being awarded this award. Very cool stuff. Trace Mayer brings up the Bitmain issue, going to be a hot topic on this show. In 15 months, Bitmain Tech has gone from 71,000 Bitcoin to 22,000 Bitcoin, and they're now holding 1 million out of the currently 8 million available illiquid BCH. Thus, they're playing chicken with united OG Bitcoin holders of last resort, results in a taller and massive mountain bank range from wrecked carcasses strewn on the order books. And that's what, let's see, they're talking about Tether, but I don't care. As Bitfury George said, the CEO of Bitfury, respect to our Chinese competitors, but selling off Bitcoin and buying Bitch may be one of the most ill-fated decisions. Why would you sell off gold in exchange for yellow plastic? I totally agree with him here. Matt Odell writes, their upcoming IPO makes a lot more sense now. Bitmain currently has a $500 million bag of $1 million Bitcoin cash, 1 million Bitcoin cash that it can't sell without cratering the price. Even just selling a fraction could spook the bitch market. The IPO is a way of selling it without selling it. Nick Scavo writes, dumb money is a high time preference addiction. I care much more about Bitcoin's utility as a global, seamless, and censor resistant store of value and medium of wealth transfer, hopefully in the future with more secure and friendlier wallets. Great advice from Nick Scavo, who just might be Satoshi. Samson Mao, why is Bitmain raising capital so fast and only showing quarter one results to pre-IPO investors? We're well into quarter three now. The reason for quarter two was not showing quarter two is that it was a disaster. Bitmain is sitting on a massive $1.2 billion USD in inventory, and the S9 prices dropped by 85%. Quarter two losses range in the $600 to $700 million range. And Samson's Mao has been really covering this Bitmain issue. Parabolic Trav throws in and says, pretty standard liquidity crunch going on with Bitmain, suffering accelerated losses on many fronts, but it can't sell illiquid assets to cover bitch, Litecoin inventory without cratering the price further and causing a death spiral. So they end up selling their only liquid asset, Bitcoin. Let's see. Just a reminder from Terrence Yang. Coindesk made several mistakes when they launched Bitmain's earnings, saying that they profited more than they did. And he just wants to remind us that CoinDesk used to run ads for Bitfinex, or for BitConnect. Different. As you can see here from Terrence's screenshots, on the right, BitConnect, invest in the most promising. And here it is. BitConnect has a 7% affiliate bonus and a daily payout. Just a reminder that CoinDesk will take anyone's money, even if they're a scam and they're later proved to be a Ponzi scam. It's important to know who to side with in the world of cryptocurrency. At the World Crypto Network, we've never supported a Ponzi scheme like BitConnect. We've really never supported anything but Bitcoin. You have to wonder why, and you have to wonder how much longer people are going to believe people who promote obvious and blatant scams. Oh, they did it for the money. Does that make it all okay? I don't think so. And Gabriel Devine is triggered, as he says here, Jihan trying to strike a conciliatory tone after telling Bitcoiners to fuck their mothers last year. Peace after a failed takeover is a hilarious pipe dream. You bought permanent war with Bitcoin last year by attacking the brand with your shit fork, homie. And Bitcoin EDU writes, once the internet caught on, the rich lost their monopoly on knowledge. When Bitcoin matures, the rich will lose their monopoly on finance. Francis Puyol writes in on the Bitmain situation saying, very insightful post. Could the Bitmain IPO become the biggest scam in crypto? What saddens me is this irrational market won't punish the reckless stupidity because of how deep dumb money is. You can catastrophically screw up and the hype will bail you out. Ladies and gentlemen, Bitmain seems to have run out of their cash reserves and they spent all their money on Bcash. They spent 70% of their operating cash flow from 2016 to quarter one 2018 on Bcash. They only have $880 million worth of Bcash on the balance sheet and only $100 million of USDA. Whale Panda recapping the entire Bitmain disaster. And presumably, oh gosh, there's more tweets. Okay, so we've got a couple more tweets before we get to Whalecoin. Let me see. Jameson Lopp said the recent revelations about Bitmain provide more evidence that the most powerful crypto companies can't hold a candle to the economic might of Bitcoin holders of last resort. This will go down into the history books next to SegWit 2x. Samson Mao, one more time, says it's entirely possible that the $1 billion earned by Bitmain in Q1 2018 was completely wiped out by the bitch bet and S9 dumping. Their TSMC inventory is melting like ice cream right in front of their eyes. If this trend continues, Bitmain will finish this year in the red. And Whale Panda comes in with a nice recap, recapping the entire Bitmain issue. He says, to recap the Bitmain disaster recovery IPO, number one, they sold most of their Bitcoin and now have over 1 million bitch. They purposely didn't include the Q2 numbers for pre-IPO buyers since they were a disaster. They told pre-IPO buyers they would use some of the money to buy more bitch. Number four, the last two chips they designed didn't work out. Number five, they're currently selling miners below cost. Number six, their AI department is a joke. As he says at the bottom, there is way more competition now, and with the stagnation and even losses mentioned above, they need IPO or they're doomed. Anyone buying the Bitmain IPO is basically throwing money in the dumpster fire. This is also a great article about the dumpster fire. And I want to go and open it up to calls, but first I want to welcome Coin Packets to the show. How's it going, Coin Packets? I think we should just open it up and talk about this Bitmain IPO issue. So what are you thinking about this?
Sure. Hey, what's going on, Thomas? And what's up, WCN? I think it's a disaster, waiting to happen if it didn't already happen. It looks like they took a large bet on Bitcoin Cash or BCH, and it's not going to work well for them if they really sold all that Bitcoin. What do you think, Thomas?
Let's see, there you go. Well, I'm horrified to say that the people that we're talking to now and the people that are reading and retweeting and enjoying all of these tweets aren't the same people that Bitmain is looking at to buy this. They're looking at the Wall Street people. They're looking at the banks, the people with a lot of money. Probably aren't the same kind of people that aren't going to go forward without the Q2 results. But we're looking for people who are going to be very impressed that Bitmain made $4 billion. They're going to be very impressed with their projections and their position in the Bitcoin mining market. And what they're looking to buy is the Microsoft of Bitcoin mining. And Bitmain is going to present themselves as this. They're going to present themselves as a very good investment. And most of those people aren't going to see those tweets or watch this show. So I'm horrified, but I think it's still going to work. I think there's a lot of negative press out there about this. But once again, it's only really negative in the Bitcoin sphere, in the sphere that we live in. Everyone else, I'm not sure they're really going to see this. What do you think?
Yeah, that's true. Inside the Bitcoin community, we know, but I know for new investors and Wall Street folks, and maybe the guys in China, because they're IPOing in China, I believe. So those guys they'll probably be on board. But what's interesting is that they're saying that they're expecting to make their profit off of AI technology. And I'm just thinking, like, what the hell does Bitcoin mining have to do with AI technology? And how are they going to transfer that?
I've got a potential answer for you because I read the article about that a couple of months ago. And basically, Bitmain's plan, and although they're saying it's no good here, when it was announced, I thought it was a pretty good plan. But basically, AIs ask lots of questions. So, in a very basic sense, what they were going to do is basically make miners to answer those AI questions. So if you had a bunch of AI questions, you could send them off to this mining farm. These mining chips would then answer all of the AI questions and return you the results. This way, just like Bitcoin mining or cloud computing, you could kind of use an AI cloud to answer your questions. And you know, that was their proposal. I don't know if it's ridiculous or not. It sounded okay to me, but what do you think, Coin Packets?
Yeah, I mean, what do you mean by AI? They ask a lot of questions. Let's see if we could break that down.
Sure. Well, the recent modern version of AI that we're being offered, I only really see it as, you know, predictive question answering. So, like, let's say you had an audio file, and the computer goes through and analyzes it, and it finds the word Bitcoin in your audio file. So now the computer knows that you're, you know, writing about Bitcoin, so they can go and pull up a bunch of questions about Bitcoin. And then when you're there and it suggests like a perfect article or a perfect question, a perfect link or something, it's because the AI was asking all of these questions. And a lot of this predictive thinking, like when Netflix says, you will like this movie. Netflix says you will like this movie because hundreds of other people thumbed up or thumbed down a response to movies, and they were able to create a, you know, profile of you that matches this other person, and all these other people, they thumbed up this video, but you haven't seen this video yet, so they're assuming that you're going to like it because they've asked other people hundreds of questions. So that's what I see the current level of artificial intelligence to be, is just, you know, humans are smart and I can ask 10 questions, but computers are really smart and they can ask 5,000 questions. And sure, maybe 4,000 of them are dumb questions and they're totally like off balance. But if they get some yeses, if they get some good information, they can narrow it down, and then the computer can seem really smart. And I think that's what we're calling AI right now.
Oh my God! So what? This is so bad for the Wall Street investors because they're getting fooled here. Because what it sounds like is this is just basic, machine learning or deep learning, whatever you want to call it,
Sure,
where
sure.
I guess like you'd profit using like a GPU or something with a ton of cores that can handle those quote unquote questions, or basically learning from data. They can do all the iterations based on how many cores you have, and that's why GPUs are so good. But it looks like they're going to transfer this whole, I guess, ASIC chip manufacturing, hardware manufacturing piece, where they were really good at manufacturing it for Bitcoin, and they're trying to move it into the AI space, which I don't think they have much experience in. Maybe I don't know the team like that, but
It, it
basically they're
seemed
saying,
like it seemed like most of the brain power was going to come from the top down with
yeah,
that one really clever chip designer, and that, you know, Jihan is kind of this guy who's friends with a really clever chip designer, and
Steve
you know,
Jobs
yeah, Steve
and
Jobs and Steve
Wozniak.
Wozniak, exactly. And I mean, obviously, their Wozniak hit a home run with his first couple chips, and he mined some Bitcoin really well. It's still yet to see if his AI question answering chip is as useful as his Bitcoin mining chips.
Wow, those guys are really good at marketing. I'll say that.
It worked. It worked. And they have $1 billion. They have lots of money. I can't believe they went for this bitch thing. This is our first actual 100% verifiable numbers that Bitmain, the owner of ASIC Boost, which again, none of these CoinDesk articles are going to mention ASIC Boost. They're not giving you the full story. They're actually doing a really bad job at journalism, as you can see by their party article the other day, where they went to the Bcash party and they didn't mention ASIC Boost once. Just a reminder, the reason Bitmain is in such trouble is because they were mining at a 30% advantage with ASIC Boost, and that the fork, the SegWit, removed their ASIC Boost advantage. That's why they forked off and created Bitcoin Cash, where they're still allowed to mine with ASIC Boost. So this 30% advantage is a big, big part of this. And then they made this huge bet on Bitcoin Cash. Seems very questionable, but once again, remember, they have to win. These people are all or nothing, right? The rest of you are, you know, day traders, or your weekend warriors. You're not that into it compared to these guys. These guys are all in. If they don't win with Bitcoin Cash, they're going to burn up in a fire like you've never seen. That's how dedicated they are. They're holy warriors. You know, they are going for this.
Mm,
So you have to be ready. And I'm not sure, you know, Bitcoin's all decentralized and we're all, you know, pieces of things and pieces of that, and this group and that group. Bitmain is centralized. They are strong and they are rich. So I think a lot of Bitcoiners think that they've got them because they've put out this information in the very small sphere that is crypto Twitter. And I still think they're going to raise this thing. We're going to have to see.
Yeah, I'll call their bluff though, because I don't know that whole AI thing just doesn't. It's just a marketing thing for me. But I'm gonna call their bluff because I saw a tweet from Cobra basically saying, "Oh, you gotta be worried about Bitmain because these guys know what they're doing and Bitcoin Cash, or they invest all this money in Bitcoin Cash." And I'm like, I mean, they're normal human beings, just like us. They can make a bad decision here and there, and putting all that money into BCH was probably a bad decision for them. And who knows what's going to happen? Because basically, how they're positioning themselves, they're going directly at Nvidia, AMD, Intel. Those guys have not even gotten to this fight yet. Honestly, I mean, Nvidia and AMD, they're like passively in the fight. But once the big dogs, and Samsung as well, once the big dogs get in here, I mean, it's going to be it's going to be tough sledding for Bitmain, and I think they're trying to get that money now before that happens.
Also, if they were a public company, they wouldn't have been able to make this horrifying investment in Bitcoin Cash. If you look at their situation a year ago, they have a lot of Bitcoin, they have a lot of Bitcoin miners, and they're in an incredibly safe position. They should have taken that money and used it on research and development, improving their systems, improving their chips. Maybe their chip guy isn't as good as he used to be anymore because he's a billionaire now and he doesn't really care. And they need to hire 5 new chip guys who aren't billionaires yet. You could have taken that money that you invested in Bitch and used it to make your company better. For their company to make this big play on Bitch doesn't make any sense unless you take into account this ASIC boost disaster that they overpromised their investors a plus 30% return over any other Bitcoin miner in the business. And that's not going to happen anymore because Bitcoin's been upgraded now and they had to create their own alternative universe, bizarro Bitcoin that no one's using and no one's going to use. And that's a huge, huge leap. If they were a public company, they would have fired Jihan. They would have marched him out, and the board would have taken the company over. They never would have made this disastrous investment into Bitcoin Cash, which may destroy this incredible unicorn of a company. We're talking about a company with, at one time they were saying $4 billion in profit, like money left over after the year profit. They
Right.
have, warehouses and warehouses and warehouses that are mining Bitcoin, and I guess now mining Bitch all the time. So this could be, for a while, this looked like a slam dunk success story, and I'm still saying the Wall Street people, they're dumb, right? They are dumb enough to buy this thing. They are dumb enough to buy the hype. And I'm setting you guys up. I want you to be prepared. I know we want this to fail. I know everybody on Twitter, there's 86 retweets here for Whale Panda. There's 259 likes. The Twitter people are certainly putting their mouth where their money is and saying how bad this Bitmain is. But outside of our little sector, all the Wall Street people, they're just looking at the balance lines and the balance sheets, and they're like, wow, they have a $1 billion in profit. They could, this is like in the 90s, people were talking about Apple, and they said Apple the brand is worth so much more than the company. You should buy the stock anyway. And they said if Apple stopped making computers tomorrow and they started making cola, and it was Apple Cola, that their brand is so strong people would drink that fucking cola. Bitmain is in a similar position. They have so much money. They could become a company that just goes around signing Chinese people up for new wallets. And they could be the wallet onboarding thing for Chinese people. And they have enough money to, totally burn out at that while still doing the chip thing. They have enough money to start 3 or 4 other companies, to invest in many other companies in the Bitcoin sphere. And they probably know a bunch of them being in China. They're probably in a great position for that. So Bitmain's probably going to get through this, but the chat is very much on fire. So let's go and open up the phone lines. We do still have some news for later, in case you're a news junkie and you love the news. But for now, we're going to open up the phone lines, and you can go ahead and give us a call on not Skype anymore. Now we're on, oh boy, I lost my place. That's going to be tough. Let's see. Pretty close. Let's see. Look how small these tabs are. But look at Google Chrome still functioning, huh? That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's pretty impressive.
now I really lost it. All right, there it is. There's the graphic. There's the phone number. You can call us now at 518 6 That's not right. Phone number is not right. Oh no, it's just a terrible looking zero. Zero that looks like 8. So
Oh,
that's
yes.
600 1949. So I typed it correctly, but it's just a very bad font. The zeros look like 8s. So that's 518 600 1949. You can give us a call right now. There are 160 live viewers. So I just want to ask everyone to give us a thumbs up and a share. We do have a big show planned for you today. I have my brand new handing out Bitcoin flyers in Las Vegas video to share with you,
Ooh,
but we
nice.
need more thumbs up and more viewers. I was going to say our goal was 100, but we broke 100, so now our goal is 200. So if you guys can get us up to 200 viewers, we will be playing the live premiere video of Mad Bitcoins in Las Vegas, handing out flyers for the second time.
Man, that is awesome. Yeah, we need some guys to call in, guys and girls. Call in. I like how you pronounce BCH. That's an interesting way to pronounce it.
I definitely see it's a bitch. It's right there. BCH. Um, not
That's
seeing, and
awesome.
again, that's how you would abbreviate bitch. You'd be like, oh, I don't have enough letters. I'm typing here on a cell phone, so I wrote bitch that way.
Yeah,
But it
that's
also seems like that what they are because they stole the name Bitcoin, and
right.
they've been so dirty-handed and underhanded, and just this I don't know. I find everything they do to be gross, and I don't understand why people are still with them. Even I met some people last year. They were very nice people, and they were like, "Yeah, I like Bitcoin Cash better. It seems more like the original thing. The transaction fees are really low." And I'd say, "Yeah,
Oh
you could
boy.
say that. You could say that about Dogecoin or Litecoin. Like neither of them are going to win. Like stay with the winner. Don't break off to some pathetic knockoff." But no, they were with it, and now I'm just like, they're stealing the name. They have that graphic where it has Bitcoin Cash, but it's animated and it cuts off the cash part, and it's like Bitcoin Cash is the real Bitcoin. And I'm like, you know what? You know who never had to say that? Bitcoin.
Right.
And when I say, hey, send me some Bitcoin, and they never say, do you mean real Bitcoin? Oh, I always mean real Bitcoin. Like, I always mean that. I've never meant anything other than that, and neither has anyone else. So it's really pathetic that they still have that name. I'm still waiting for them to rebrand Bcash.
Oh, we
Hello,
got a call.
caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, Thomas, I'm Dave. I'm up in Montana.
All right, Dave in Montana. How's it going up in Montana today?
What's up, Dave?
All right. It's been getting hot, but
I've,
I
I've
just
got.
thought I'd give you a call. I've listened to you, kind of been lurking for a while. And I just kind of wanted to ask your opinion about something.
All right, go ahead.
Because I've gotten in a discussion kind of, and I'm not smart enough to answer it. So I'm asking you on these so-called new quantum computers are all supposed to come out, D-Wave. Now, that's not going to wreak havoc with Bitcoin because of the way the protocol set up with the nodes, right?
Well, the main thing to worry about and to think about with quantum computers is that it breaks encryption, right? So I don't know what level we're at, how fast the quantum computers are, if they're DNA computers, which was another idea people were working on for a long time because, cells are really fast. They have a great transaction rate. So both of those things would be going towards breaking encryption. So if they break encryption, it means that when you communicate with your bank, and right now you do that in kind of a secure channel, it's secure between you and the bank. That would be broken. So people could eavesdrop on that and they could look at your secure communications with the bank. When people encrypt their email, it's encrypted between those two people. With a quantum computer or a DNA computer, something like that, presumably you could decrypt their email. You could read all of their emails. So basically, it would be a problem for Bitcoin because you could decrypt the algorithm SHA-256 and you could get someone's Bitcoin key and you could take all their money. But it would be a much bigger problem for the rest of the world. So what Bitcoin would do is it would change to a new algorithm that is not breakable by the quantum computers, or a variety of algorithms. Like Vertcoin has like maybe 8 different algorithms and they switch them all the time. So you have to have a really, very versatile computer to mine that kind of thing. So we would switch. The rest of the world, though, would be in a very big mess with all the encryption being broken. But like they're saying in the chat, it's a long time ahead of us before quantum computers are here. So this isn't really something to worry about. But it is a valid question. It is
Right.
totally valid.
You would have to basically, if you had this quantum computer, you would have to think about, okay, do I hack Bitcoin or do I hack like all the banks in the world or other more important stuff? You know, people are probably going to go after banks.
I got in a discussion about it, and and they were all convinced, oh, that's going to wreck all the cryptocurrencies, and I'm like, well, I don't think so, because of the way that it's more than just encryption. There's other things in the protocol, and then I know there's a lot of really, really smart people working on this. So I kind of have faith in that. So
Yeah, I think they've got it. It's the same kind of thing when people say, well, what if we run out of electricity, and what if there's a nuclear war? How are you going to use your Bitcoin then? And I'm still like, how am I going to eat? How am I going to sleep and be safe? I mean, I got bigger problems than whether or not my Bitcoin works. And I think so does the rest of the world. So the same thing with quantum computers. If they break it, it breaks all the banks. It breaks all the CIA stuff. It breaks everything, right? It's a huge problem. So yeah, Bitcoin could just change the algorithm. So we've got a chance. There'll be some damage, certainly, but we could get out of that mess. The rest of the world, they're going to have to change their encryption too, and they have many, many, many more systems than Bitcoin on which to upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an awesome question.
Nice talking to you, man. Like I said, I've been kind of lurking around for a while, last couple of years, and I seen nobody was calling you, so I thought I would.
Oh, well, thanks so much, Dave. And keep it in mind, we have another guy named Henry who's also in Montana. So.
That's what you call it there in Nevada, right? A tote? Where you tip somebody? Now,
oh, yeah.
I know you got a lot of totes, but I'll send you a tip.
Well, I appreciate it, man. And check it out. We have one more guy that was calling us from Montana. So check out if you meet a guy named Henry in Montana. He's also a Bitcoiner. So maybe you guys should have a meetup or something. The couple of people that are into Bitcoin in Montana. I think it's super exciting.
Yeah. All right. Well, you have a good rest of your day, man.
All right. Thanks so much for the call, Dave. And
Dave.
Give us a call anytime.
All right. You bet.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. And that was a great call from Dave from Montana. He had a really hard question, and I think we gave him a pretty good answer. Quantum computers are definitely a threat, but it's more of like a 20-year threat or a 30-year threat, or I hope I get to see a quantum computer. Even though, like I said, it would be like a chaos type issue for the rest of the world.
Right, and plus it would cost like a fortune. Also, I mean, quantum computers is not really just a threat for Bitcoin. I mean, this is for the entire can't even say the word, cryptography community. So all the guys that are making the algorithms like SHA-256, anything that's elliptic curve cryptography, that's going to be basically broken by quantum computers. I think the only resistance Bitcoin has right now, if that ever would happen, is what you could do is you could just use your address just once, and you should be okay.
All right, we got another call. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hey, Thomas. This is John from San Diego.
All right, John. How's it going down there in San Diego today?
What's up, John?
Absolutely fantastic. Perfect weather down here as always. Hey, first time caller, long time listener. Wanted to call in and thank you for doing what you do. I think it's really fun.
Well, thanks so much, John. And what are your thoughts today on Bitmain? Do you think they're going to raise all that money even though they made that disastrous investment into Bitcoin Cash?
It's tough for me to figure out this one. I mean, I'll be honest. I sold my Bitcoin Cash pretty early, and then I bought it back, and I bought it back for a little bit of a loss. Roger scares me, man. You know, like I used to love the guy. I thought he was fantastic. You know, preaching the thing, and then he turned into the Judas, and it was a little bit rough on me, and you know, I worry that guy's got an ace of his sleeve, and he's going to try to make a shot at it.
Well, he certainly does have a vendetta, and he is very fired up against Bitcoin, which I always find shocking. You know, I've made a little bit of money on Bitcoin, and certainly Roger's made a lot more. And I would think I would just be so grateful to the thing that made me money, whether it be Facebook stock or Twitter or holding cash or finding a dollar on the street. I'm always so grateful, and I just don't understand how Roger can hate Bitcoin so much that he wants to destroy it. I always hope there's something that we don't know, like Roger lost all his money gambling, or Roger's being blackmailed, or some kind of thing that we don't know, and it's going to come out later, and we'll be like, "Oh, that makes sense. That's why Roger had to do all those crazy things." But otherwise, maybe we just didn't know him that well, and he was just totally capable of this the whole time. So.
You know, I mean, I've listened to a lot of his videos and just his history. You know, he's similarly minded to myself, uber libertarian, and just I mean, maybe he's a little bit on the, you know, he's a little farther. I'm a bit more moderate, but the thing that, you know, unnerves me is just how much he, you know, sort of is impassioned by his own belief that, you know, things went astray. I think he's such a contrarian. He's, you know, contrarian himself out of his own position, and you know, he's got a bunch of followers, and I think they're, you know, they want to pick up a cheap coin quick and overtake the king, and they want to do that thing. I'm a big Bitcoin maximalist, but at this point, I can't even sell my Bitcoin Cash just because I feel like I'm going to hedge my bets there.
Well, that's always been a perfectly fine strategy. I remember when we talked about Bitcoin Cash, we said certainly the safest thing to do, you're getting this for free. You have a certain number of Bitcoin. Now you got a certain number of Bitcoin Cash. The safest thing to do is hold it. But what I also suggested was selling in pieces. I sold mine about 30% too early, 30% in the middle, and 30% at a really good time to sell. But then, of course, even after it was all gone, there was other good times to sell. But I just don't know about the future. I don't know anymore. But certainly if you got it for free and you want to hold it, that's a perfectly safe strategy.
Yeah, it's that whole Bitcoin dividends thing, right? Because I mean, there's a ton of other forks other than Bitcoin Cash. So, I mean, would you have held on to all those other dumpster fires that came out from forking Bitcoin? Probably not. It would have been a bad decision.
I mean, I did. I held on to my Bitcoin Gold. I haven't even investigated the other ones. But yeah, I mean, I've just held and watched those things drop 90%. You know, I used to have some money, and then and then they're nothing now. So it's a little bit sad. You know, I could have, would have, should have got more Bitcoin, and I wish I had. But there were some times there where, you know, I gotta admit, you know, I was flooded into rebuying the Bitcoin Cash that I had sold, and that irks me. Like I'm angry about it, but at the same time, that was kind of my fear.
Well, remember, we're all just playing the risk game here. So, you know, a little while ago, I got a little more USD and a little less Bitcoin, and that always bums me out. But I just want to keep both sides of my fence equal. So, you know, I have a little bit of USD, I have a little bit of Bitcoin. You know, some of it's an investment, some of it's money to live on. And the same thing with your BCH. You know, you went out and then you went back in. You're just trying to get into a better position where you don't have to worry as much. So if you're holding both sides of the fork, you're pretty much fine either way. But there was some additional cost to getting those extra forks. I never really got any of them after Bitcoin Cash. They weren't as easy to claim. And there's always a risk of losing all of your real Bitcoin when you try to claim these goofy fork Bitcoins. And for some people, that's not even a risk worth taking for a second. I've heard horror stories of people with significant amounts of Bitcoin, more than myself, certainly, and they lost it all because they were trying to claim some stupid fork. So you just got to be careful out there.
It's a great point. Yeah, I haven't done any of the other ones that were, the ones that have just shown up in the Trezor. That's fine. But like you have this upcoming Richard Hart one, right? His little pet project, and you got to like claim it somehow, do something. I haven't investigated it at all, but my understanding is if you want to get your unclaimed, you can get a portion of your unclaimed stuff. You're gonna get your hex coin or whatever it is, and but if you claim it, then you'll potentially receive the unclaimed Satoshis coins and all this other nonsense. So that scares me. I don't know that I'm going to participate in anything like that because I don't want to provide some. But the question is though, is if you're doing it with your Trezor, is it going to be a problem? Do you need to rotate addresses? I mean, I'm curious about that stuff, but I haven't done any research into how that works.
Yeah, the basic precaution is that you move your Bitcoin into another address. Then when you use that private key to claim your Bitcoin Cash or your Bitcoin Gold or whatever, that private key is then empty. But the problem is, I think you can see pretty obviously, there's other goofy Bitcoin forks on that private key. So when you use that key to claim your Bitcoin Cash, they better be trustworthy because that key can also access your Bitcoin Diamond and your Bitcoin Gold and all of this other stuff. So there's not really a safe way to do it because the minute that you enter your private key into some place to claim your whatever, that place could betray you and claim all of your other things.
Yeah, it's kind of brutal.
That makes sense.
What newcomer is going to understand that? They get to safeguard your private key that way. If you want to claim these new forks, it's kind of messed up. So it's good that the Trezor, just does it automatically, probably in a safe way. I don't know how exactly it does it, but having to ask people to input private keys and all that stuff just to claim things, the best bet is to not do that.
Well, it also destroyed a lot of Bitcoin days. A lot of people were holding their Bitcoin on a paper wallet for years and years and years. And then you got a chance at some free money. And, I need free money. So I used mine to get a laptop and it's really cool. I'm still using the laptop today. It's perfectly cool. And, no, yeah, you got to cash out all your paper wallets. Your Bitcoin that haven't moved for years have moved. And maybe the whole thing was just a scheme to identify all of us Bitcoiners. Anybody greedy enough to take free money ended up getting kind of identified from this Bitcoin Cash thing. So there's always that could have been the secret cost that we all paid.
I agree. Yep.
Good point. Speaking of laptops, so your show, I think it was yesterday or maybe it was another show this weekend. I've been listening to them, not necessarily live sometimes because I don't have the time to do the whole show, but I'll pick it up while I'm driving or something like that. I'll restart it. You were mentioning building a Lightning node and building a full node and some of your desires to get like a pre-packaged deal. I went on line yesterday just on YouTube and found a step-by-step video on how to build an Ubuntu box on a spare laptop and install all the software. I got about halfway through the instructions and I ran into a little bit of a problem, but then I got past it, but then I decided to go to bed. So I haven't gotten it fully up and running, but it was, Googled, how to install a Lightning node and it was right there. And guy had a step-by-step command line right in the comment section or the description of the video. The whole thing straight up, and so far is mostly accurate.
Yeah, it sounds really cool. I don't think it's that hard to build a full node. I just haven't done it yet myself. I am interested in that Bitseed box. It's around $350, which is a lot for a box that doesn't do that much for me. But I do want to support Bitcoin and support the network. But I think that the Bitseed is just a Bitcoin node. It's not expanded yet into a Lightning node. So I don't know the extra levels for that. But I imagine it goes something like set up a Bitcoin node, download the whole blockchain, then add some other program on it that makes it a Lightning node. I don't know for sure, but that's what I would assume.
Yeah, he describes that in the beginning of his video on YouTube, and it's exactly that. You're installing the coin node and then the Lightning node on top of that. It's like you directly go to the GitHub repository, download the most current code, and then, it installs as an RPM. So, you don't need to know Linux if you follow these things step by step, but, it's helpful if you can kind of validate what the heck you're doing when you're adding variables and paths into your Linux operating system, right? You kind of, if you know a little bit of Linux, it's helpful.
Sure. It's always helpful because, yeah, you can just follow along with the step-by-step files, but you never know if you're adding a backdoor to your system or if you're adding something to the path. Yeah.
Exactly. There was something else you brought up that I looked up yesterday that I thought was fairly interesting. You were talking about the amount of Bitcoin to be like in the top 1% being pathetically low. And I looked at this Medium article and I saw the claim that if you only have 15 Bitcoins, you're in the top 1% of owners. And I found that to be surprising and shocking. You were intimating something about this in the top 500,000 wallets or something like that. Have you heard the thing I just articulated there? Is that something that people are aware of sort of that threshold of being in the top 1% of Bitcoin owners? I mean, it seems like you need thousands or hundreds of thousands of Bitcoins to be in there. So I was really surprised at that low number.
Well, I've heard that if you have 10, you're in a really good position. If you have 21, you're in a really good position, at least against other Bitcoiners. But I think that it's a deceptive statistic. To really look at the numbers, I don't have them with me, but I imagine there's like a 1% that owns probably 90% of Bitcoin. I really think there's a core group of people that got there early. They got a bunch of them. There's some companies that have been stockpiling, and that those people, their wallets have most of the Bitcoin. So I think that the problem is, compared to those people, when you roll back down to 10, you're still in a really rare group, right? You're not in that, thousands of Bitcoin group, but you're still up at the top. So that's how I see it, is that there's people with lots and lots of money. There's people with a good amount of money. And then way down there at the bottom is everybody else who has one Bitcoin or is struggling to get one, and so forth. I think the most of the people are down there in the one or less Bitcoin range. So that's how I think it works out that way.
Interesting. Yeah, I found that surprising. When I started playing with alts last year, about this time last year, my goal was to do like the millionth. I wanted to get a millionth of that, whatever the market supply was, whatever the supply of tokens was. So if I was going to invest in new, now I never did an ICO, but anything that was on an exchange, if I was going to pick up something, I would say, okay, what is a millionth of its total supply? And then, obviously a millionth for Bitcoin would be 21, and other coins would be, some other, 420 coin or something like, I don't know, 400 or 4,200 or something like that. So fun stuff, right? Like I thought, hey, a million. I'm not that big of a dog, but at least I have a millionth of a token. And then to find out that 10 is actually significant, or 15 is 1%. That, I guess I didn't expect that. And that was a new piece of information that I picked up just yesterday.
Yeah, I wonder how it's calculating that when you use that stat, because is it saying like any Bitcoin address that I guess the UTXO set picked up is calculated in there, because most of those will be zero counts. So of course 15 Bitcoin.
I don't know. I'm assuming that there's like a standard deviation, right? Like if you're in the top 1%, you're, whatever, third standard deviation out, and or something like this, right? And so that would mean that 99% of the other addresses out there have less than that amount, is my guess. But I didn't look too deeply into it. I just thought that was a surprising statistic, and I don't know how valid it is.
Well, thanks to Rad Vladdy in the chat for sending us this link to Are We Decentralized Yet? Let's see, where'd it go? We can see right here that about 25% of the coins are held by people who have 10 to 100. 21% of the coins are held by people who have 100 to 1,000. 19% of the coins are people who have 1,000 to 10,000. 16% of the coins are held by people that have 10,000 to 100,000, and 3% of the coins are held by people who have more than 100,000 to a million coins in their wallet. So it does look like the largest percentage is in this 10 to 100, or yeah, pretty much the 10 to 100 range is the largest percentage of holders.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Maybe that's going by
So then
a minimum
maybe
amount of
that
Bitcoin.
article was full of it. I'll have to double check that and see. What was the stat that you gave yesterday where it was like the 5 million top wallets and the 500,000 of them or something?
I'm not sure, but I mean, I think we can tell from this that basically if you have more than 10, you're in a very rich group. If you have less than 10, you're kind of with everybody else. But I would say a lot of these people only have less than 1%. They just don't have, or less than one coin. So
Yeah, so that skews the numbers a lot.
Very, very, very interesting. Hey, Thomas, got a quick question for you before I jump off the line and let somebody else talk. Have you ever heard of a LA radio talk show host called Mr. KFI?
nope, never heard of him.
Oh my gosh, you remind me of him so much. It's fantastic. So back when I was a kid in the mid '80s, he had a talk show. It was called I think it was Ask Mr. KFI. People would call in. They would just ask random questions. You know, Mr. KFI would do all this shtick. Fun audience participation stuff. Or all these little games. Any really intelligent dude would have great banter with his host. You remind me of him quite a lot. Intelligent guy and well-rounded knowledge. And I think that's a lot of fun. I think that's great for the people who are listening. You keep it interesting and you provide new information. And even I love the reading in the beginning of your show where the correlation between some off-random poem and how it might relate to this whole Bitcoin new world. It's fun stuff. So keep up the great work, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much, John. Thanks for calling in and thanks for listening.
All right. Take care. Bye.
All right, bye-bye. And it looks like we're getting very close to 200 live viewers. As I said, if you guys can give us those thumbs up down below and the shares and tweet about it and everything else, if we can get to 200 live viewers, I will play my brand new video, Mad Bitcoins, handing out Bitcoin in Las Vegas, spreading Bitcoin awareness, volume 2. I've got the tweet right here. I've got another screen where I can make the video public. And I have yet another screen where I can show the video. We're getting very close, 198, 197. So what we need is for you to go down below, give us a thumbs up. I'm getting the video ready. We've got it queued up right here. The only question is, are we going to break 200?
We will. And that's interesting, that link you pulled up here, the rich list. It actually specifies some of those addresses with the owners, which I think is dangerous. So the number one wallet with 187,000 Bitcoin is Bitfinex's cold wallet. That's nice to know.
Yeah, it's like a hacking list. Like this is where you'd hack first.
Right. Primary target.
Primary target, 187,000 Bitcoin. Yeah, that would be pretty good.
Right.
So I did see it for a second there. We hit 200. We bounced back below, but that's still good enough. Thanks everybody for giving us those likes and shares. I closed down the phone calls for just a second. We're going to play this video. It's pretty short. It's only like 3 minutes and it has lots of music. So here it is, Mad Bitcoins handing out Bitcoin flyers in Las Vegas. Good morning, Bitcoin. We are live in Las Vegas, Nevada, handing out flyers about Bitcoin. Have you guys heard about Bitcoin? Give it a try. Thank you. Bitcoin. There it is. Just that easy.
This is pizza. Bitcoin.
How you doing, Mr. Mad Bitcoins?
Hey, it's Corey. How's it going, Corey?
Excellent. Bitcoin's amazing, you know, and I like to tell people that it's the single most important thing happening on the planet right now, a life-changing investment that will also free the world at the same time.
About Bitcoin, check it out.
Bitcoin, where is that at?
Internet money. It goes up in value. Amazing.
Where's it at?
And there it is, Mad Bitcoins handing out Bitcoins in Las Vegas. And we're going to be doing it again this Friday. And people are, oh, there's a slash on the end, but there's the link to the YouTube so you guys can watch it. They said there was some frame issues. That's going to happen when you're playing YouTube videos through screen share with another screen share. And you got about 40 or 50 tabs open. But if you want to watch the video and share the link, it's down below. But once again, the key here is that you can do this in your hometown. You've got a hometown, you've got a town square, and I've released the links to these flyers. You can make your own flyers using my links. You can change them, you can edit them, you can put different things, or you can just print out the flyers that I made. Maybe I have one here, but they're pretty standard, easy to use Bitcoin flyers. Looks like I do have some samples. But here's one right here. It says on the front, $25 pizza, $86 million fortune. What is Bitcoin? And then on the back, it's got a bunch of information about how you can use Bitcoin and how you can buy Bitcoin. And then at the bottom, it's got our information here, the Bitcoin Las Vegas meetup. And it's got a QR code. You can donate Bitcoin right to this flyer. It's pretty cool. So check these out. We're going to be handing these out again here in Las Vegas. If you're in the Las Vegas area or you're nearby and you want to come down or you want to take a weekend, come down to Las Vegas. We're doing this Friday night right here in Las Vegas, down on Fremont Street, same place we've been a couple of times before. I think we're getting better at it. It's hard to hand out flyers to people that don't care. I was kind of picking my spots there, trying to find people that were interested in Bitcoin. So, but that's
awesome,
video.
Thomas.
Yeah,
you're doing a good job, man. And plus, Las Vegas is probably flyer fatigued anyway, so.
They really are. A lot of people are giving out strip club flyers, and no one wants those. And there's a lot of like dance club flyers and come to our casino flyers. And I remember all of those flyer people, they're paid, right? They're paid to give out those flyers, even if it's a terrible salary, not very much. Our Bitcoin people, they're volunteers. When I go out there, I'm a volunteer. I'm spending my own time to hand out flyers. And that's what I suggest you do. Go out there and hand out flyers. Tell your friends about Bitcoin. Tell your family about Bitcoin. Get them to try it. Give them $10 in Bitcoin. Say, hey, here it is right here. Boom, $10 on your phone. Now you're a Bitcoiner. And that's all you need to do. We're going to go and open it up for phone calls here. If you want to give us a call, you can give us a call now at 518-600-1949. And mainly we're trying the phone calls today. I had an issue yesterday I don't know how to fix, where both Skype and the phone calls were ringing at the same time. So right now, my fix is to just have the phone calls open. Then I suppose if we go for a long time with no phone calls, we'll open up the Skype calls and we'll close down the phone calls. So that's the plan right now. And there it is. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name's Jeff, and I'm calling from sunny Bradenton, Florida.
All right, Florida. How's it going, Jeff?
Hey, Jeff.
Good, buddy. Just watching your show and seeing you passing out those flyers. I kind of like to think of myself as Johnny Appleseed of the job site. I'm a superintendent, and all the guys come, I introduce them, and I try to give them $1, and that's all, nothing to lose but my dollar. And it's hard, it's just like you giving the flyers away. But I've managed to set up over the last year about 100 wallets, or $100, $1 at a time. Pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that's fantastic, Jeff. You really are the Johnny Appleseed or Johnny Bitcoin Seed of Florida there. And that's what I think you have to do.
I don't know about Florida, but, just every little bit helps, just enlightening people. And it seems like
awesome.
every little bit I gave away, it just exploded. The last job site I started was $2,700 when I put a shovel in the ground. I did ground up stores. And by the time I was done, 16 weeks later, of course, Bitcoin was on a crazy run. It's still $7-8 grand before I left the job site. So it just goes up and up. It's been doing very well.
Well, like they were saying in the chat when I played that video there, they were like, Thomas just changed that guy's life. Thomas just changed that guy's life. And, you don't have to have a video camera and a mad Bitcoins hat or whatever. You can do it on your own. Just by talking to people and giving them some Bitcoin and giving them a chance at this thing, I really do think you are changing their lives and you're giving them a hope for the future. Sure, it'd be better if they put more than $1 in, but I think the currency of hope.
But I've got, there's 2 or 3 guys I still get texts from. The one guy I was doing North Carolina. I was going through a divorce. Things were tough. I remember I started a job. Bitcoin was about $900. So he sent me an email or text 6 months later saying how it changed his life and it made a difference because he bought up a little batch of them, like some Ether, some Bitcoin, some. It worked out well. It's nice when you get those texts and emails. Makes it all worth it.
It really does. It really does, Jeff. So thanks so much for your work handing out Bitcoin. Have you gone to any Bitcoin meetups lately in Florida? Is anything happening down there?
No, not yet. I'm not semi-retired, but I do a couple grind ups a year. So I'm looking forward to doing more stuff like that. And you're an inspiration to us all, Thomas.
Oh, well, thanks so much, Jeff. We can all do this. It just takes my meetup, I go like once or twice a week. We just have dinner at a place. We hang out. If people show up, they show up. If they don't show up, I just eat dinner. I'm fine with it.
Well, we just got back from Alaska, but if we get to Vegas, we'll definitely look you up.
Well, that sounds great, Jeff. Be sure to come on down to the Bitcoin Las Vegas meetup when you're in town. Thanks so much for your call. Give us a call anytime.
All right, buddy. Take care.
All right. Bye, Jeff.
Thanks,
And
Jeff.
yeah, you can give us a call at what is it? It's 518-600-1949. But coin packets, I know you have to take off soon. Anything you want to say to the people in closing? Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I got to roll. But it was a great show. Good to talk about all those cool topics, Bitcoin Cash and all that stuff.
So final choice, is Bitmain going to be successful in their IPO?
Yes, they will be.
Oh, I know. Doesn't it hurt? It doesn't matter how much bad things we say about them or how bad this Bitcoin Cash investment is. They're a giant mining company, and all these people in Wall Street, they want to invest in a giant mining company. It doesn't matter which one or what they're going to spend the money on, does it? Yeah.
No, nope, not at all. But thanks for having me on. Definitely talk to you later.
And where can the people check you out on Twitter? Where can they subscribe to Coin Packets?
Oh yeah, just Coin Packets at Coin Packets on Twitter.
All right, very cool. Thanks so much for joining us today. And we're just going to go ahead and keep taking phone calls here if there are more phone calls. So if you want to call us now at 518 600 1949, we'll try to keep this show going. And there is always more news to read. So let's see what happened today in Bitcoin, other than the Bitmain disaster story, which we covered pretty much in detail. But of course, if you have an opinion on that, call in. Tell us what you think about the Bitmain. Oh, where'd it go? Went away. Okay, are you with us? No. All right, try it again. Sorry about that. I pushed on the phone call, but nothing happened. So go ahead and give us a call. Otherwise, I'm going to do the news. People are having fun in the chat. They're going back and forth. Go. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from? Oh, no microphone? I thought it was supposed to be easy on this phone thing. You just call in with your phone. Oh, well, give us a try when you get your microphone working. What's happening here? This computer is freezing. That could be it. I don't know. Maybe my computer's freezing. Maybe your computer's freezing. It's tough to say. No, I think it's my computer. All right. I'm going to disconnect from screen share and try to reconnect. It should still be broadcasting the call if the caller was there, even if my screen share stopped working. But it is possible maybe my second shared computer. Yeah, something went wrong with my shared computer. All right, so we've lost the phone calls right now. So we're just going to do the rest of the news, and then maybe we'll try to get them back. CoinDesk says, where have all the Augur users gone? And I wonder that myself. I wonder why they didn't build a better and a bigger community. Certainly, I offered to work with them and to help them build their community, but they must have went with someone flashier and more exciting. But now they're saying, despite the $5 million raised for Augur and all the excitement that it would be the most popular DApp and would prove all of us that people want to use DApps, Augur only has 66 users over the past 24 hours, putting it in an uninspiring 22nd place. They say the problem is there's not enough liquidity in the Augur markets, and basically no one knows what to bet on. Joey Crook, the founder of Augur, says everything will be fine and pledges for more time. Bobby Lee, for many who still don't understand blockchain's real use case, its true destiny, its first and only killer app is to serve as digital money in the form of Bitcoin. Don't create more altcoins. Don't issue centralized tokens. Don't apply blockchain tech. Just use Bitcoin. A great message from Bobby Lee. I Am Nomad writes, with a Bitmain IPO, parties get a look at the prospectus and operating capital details. This graph is starting to make the round, indicating that Bitmain took 69% of its operating cash flow to invest in Bitcoin Cash, with a net loss of $299 million as of August 2018. Disastrous investment for Bitmain. Bitcoin Munger writes on Twitter, gold broke through the $1,200 barrier today. This shitcoin is eventually going to lose all of its monetary premium to Bitcoin as it gets disrupted into irrelevance. Ooh, gold is going down. This interesting tweet. I suppose this is real. I kind of hope it's not, but it's from Humans of Late Capitalism, and they show a picture of a BBC News alert that says, "You might give a homeless person money, but you don't know anything about them and have no change. Would barcoding them help?" This is a terrifying idea that you could barcode homeless people. I don't know who thought this would be a good idea to put out this message from BBC News, but it's terrifying. Kevin Pham had a great quote from George Bernard Shaw. It reads here: "The reasonable man adapts himself to the world. The unreasonable one persists in trying to adapt the world to himself. Therefore, all progress depends upon the unreasonable man." Very powerful quote. Great writer, George Bernard Shaw. I've read his play Pygmalion, later turned into the musical My Fair Lady. I'm not sure, but it's a great play, Pygmalion. Transforming the street lady into a proper lady, and the differences between people. I also thought this reminds me a little bit of Robin Williams, who I talked about in the opening. Robin Williams was most certainly an unreasonable man, always trying to adapt the world to his form of comedy and his form of reality, which was very fast moving. I had a great quote this morning myself. Basically, I got another one of those come-ons in my email box, and the guy said, "Dear Mad Bitcoins, do you support young crypto projects?" I just thought it was so funny, the way the guy referred to it as young. He means new, but maybe he means young, you know? And then he says here, "You mean like young scams? I do not like them, mad I am. I do not like them on a boat. I do not like them on a plane. I do not like them in the rain. I do not like them, mad I am. Whether your scams be rich or poor, I just wish you wouldn't email me anymore." Fun stuff. Little Dr. Seuss. Also, shout out to the World Crypto Network. Be sure to subscribe down below. The World Crypto Network makes daily shows about Bitcoin. Yesterday, we did 4 live shows. We've been making videos since 2014, but we need your help. We need 100,000 subscribers to activate YouTube's subscription program. Please retweet, share, and subscribe. And we got 36 retweets and 42 favorites, which is really good for the Mad Bitcoins Twitter account. And we got a few subscribers as well. So just be sure to subscribe down below. There is a difference out there when it comes to Bitcoin news. You can watch the Bitcoin news channels where they're all about altcoins, and this altcoin will make you rich. I put $10 into this and now I'm a millionaire, and all these kind of clickbait titles and all that kind of stuff. We don't really do that here. Sometimes I try or I get close, but I can never really get down into the gutter where those guys are. And I can never really lie to people. I have a real problem lying to people and telling them to invest in something that I don't believe in, and I never do. That's what I do. That's how I get rid of that. But these other channels do, and they've had incredible growth. And I hope that you guys will support us as we continue to grow slowly, perhaps with a more high quality audience, not so much a large audience. So I appreciate you guys, even if we're smaller. Like I said earlier, we're going to be spreading the word about Bitcoin on Fremont Street this Friday in Las Vegas. If you're in the Las Vegas area or you want to stop by, go ahead and join the Bitcoin Las Vegas group at bitcoinlasvegas.org. And right now, it's me. I'll be handing out flyers in Las Vegas. And shout out to my brother who will be filming me. I always needed somebody to film me, and he stood up and volunteered. So it's very cool. And together, we can make Bitcoin Las Vegas into Las Vegas. And I really think we can transform this town. We've got some great help from the casinos already. The D Casino, as you saw in the video, accepts Bitcoin, and so does the Golden Gate Casino, which is also owned by the D Casino. And there's some people in the chat, very risky, rah. We have to go outside and talk about Bitcoin. Nobody listening thinks that I'm rich or that I'm valuable in any way. I'm a nice person. I like to talk about Bitcoin, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to spread the word about Bitcoin. It's going to be fine. Hey, there's a picture of me spreading the word right there in Las Vegas. That was really cool. And those girls asked me to come over to them. They like the Mad Hatter hat. They thought it's a good combo. And I agree with them. We have an interesting story from Mashable. A 22-year-old crypto millionaire was scammed out of 5,500 Bitcoins. Unbelievable. Terrible loss. According to the Bangkok Post, the 22-year-old Finnish man, I'm not going to say his name, but he lost roughly $24 million at the time to scammers in Thailand. He apparently thought that he was investing in a casino and a new cryptocurrency called Dragon Coins. But after seeing no returns at all, his business partner filed a complaint to the CSD. As it turned out, the group converted the Bitcoins into Thai currency, deposited into accounts belonging to the 7 suspects, and spent some of it on land. So big mess there. But the real mess is that this 22-year-old kid somehow had 5,500 Bitcoins and didn't know that all he really had to do was hold on. Bitcoin isn't giving up ground as Ethereum and Ripple fall. Forbes thinks they can tell you why. Okay. Why, Forbes? Why? You don't even tell us. Come on. Oh, here it is. What's giving support to the Bitcoin price? The SEC is considering a Bitcoin ETF. That's right. Not an Ethereum ETF, not a Litecoin ETF, a Bitcoin ETF. Also, the Turkish currency is collapsing. All right. So, yeah, who cares about Ethereum and Ripple? Bitcoin's all that matters. And finally, we have trading analysis from CoinDesk by the man who owns no Bitcoin, Omkar Godbol. He says Bitcoin price move past 6,500 would boost upside potential. Let's just go straight to the view. Bitcoin will likely find acceptance above the falling trend line hurdle of 6,480 and extend the corrective rally from the 6-week low of 6,000 to 6,850 within a day or two. Failure to take out the falling trend line resistance in the next few hours could prove costly and yield a retest of 6,162, the support on the hourly chart. A violation there would expose the $6,000 February low. Acceptance below 6,000 would revive the bearish view and shift risk in favor of a drop to 5,755, the June lows. Bitcoin investors eye Turkey as the lira plummets 20%. And this is just going to keep happening. We had this before with Cyprus. We had this with other countries like Venezuela, who had currency problems and continue to have currency problems. And now we're having this with Turkey. Every country in the world used to be independent. They used to say, oh, our money's failing. You have no choice. Sure, you could get into the dollar, you could get into the euro, another currency, right? But you could never really get away from that local currency, whether it be Turkish lira or Venezuelan bolivars. Now, the people of people of the world have a choice. Just like in the Cyprus situation of 2013, one of the major events that drew me back into Bitcoin, I'd been sitting on the sidelines, kind of shrugging my shoulders at the internet money. But then, when it took off in Cyprus, basically the banks in Cyprus, it's a island, it's small, people come and go, but basically people were holding their money there. People that didn't live in Cyprus, and the Cyprus bank said, "Hey, we've got a plan. Let's get us some of that money." So they started taxing everyone that had an account in Cyprus. They would just take your money from your account. And everyone freaked out and they headed to the ATMs and they tried to get as much money as they could. And they limited the ATMs to like $100 a day. And these people of Cyprus had no choice. They were completely trapped in their local currency. But what changed at that time in 2013 is that we had Bitcoin. The people of Cyprus were able to hide in Bitcoin, a truly independent currency that was not controlled by their reckless and out of control spending government. Now the people of Turkey have the same chance. The people of Venezuela have the same chance. And wherever the next currency collapse is, which I guarantee you there will be another currency collapse, they have a chance now because they have Bitcoin. Bitcoin trading is still illegal in Saudi Arabia. Warn watchdogs. That's a good point. Everyone should be very careful with some of these countries and some of their laws. I would not break the laws of Saudi Arabia, especially if I was there. Vietnam confirms suspension of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency miner imports. After months of deliberation, Vietnam has moved towards halting imports of cryptocurrency mining equipment, according to a customs department in the city. And once again, we all know how this goes. You just bribe that guy and you get your miners in anyway. It's really interesting when these governments try to control things that they can't control. Look at all those shipping containers. How do you know there's not a Bitcoin miner hidden in one of those? We don't. So it's very interesting to see Vietnam and Saudi Arabia still trying to control Bitcoin, while on one hand, we have a potential breakout in Turkey and Venezuela. So it is very interesting to see these governments try to hold on to control when they know, and at least they're learning, that they have no power at all. And finally, Bitcoin investing is creating huge tax tax predicaments for hedge funds. That's right. Even the hedge funds can't figure out how to pay their taxes on Bitcoin. They don't know if they're counting their taxes correctly. Can you imagine what it's like for an individual? As it says here, just like individual taxpayers, institutional investors that have plunged into Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies are finding there are few guidelines governing their holdings, and that those that do exist are murky. As a result, many funds have tried to limit their liabilities without knowing what the rules really are. And this is a huge mess by the IRS. They need to declare Bitcoin a currency and stop taxing it transactionally. It is not a commodity. It is the currency of the internet. The internet is an independent and free country that will rise to dominance in the entire world. It will replace all of your governments. But don't take my word for it. You can just wait for it to happen. And as always, this has been Bitcoin Talk Show. We're going to give another chance to try to get back into the server right now to see if it's still up and to see if I can take more phone calls. I am using a remote desktop and I'm using a server that's in the other room to take the phone calls. And we seem to have lost contact with it. So I'm seeing if I can get back on there and maybe then we'll take some more phone calls. So just sit tight. It's always a good time to donate to the QR code on your screen right now. Looks like I'm back in, but it looks like there's still something frozen. It looks like, Google Chrome crashed. The entire Google Chrome went down. So I'm going to force quit that, try to bring it back up, and bring the Bitcoin Talk Show back online. Saudi Arabia, what? Me headless. I agree. Let's not mess with any country where the crime, the potential is cutting off your head. Let's not do that. Good plan, everybody. Definitely agree with you there. But let me see what I need to get open here. Maybe it crashed because I played that full screen video. I know you guys were complaining about the frame rate, but that's really the best way I have to play a nice video for you guys is through this shared screen. The video is it's loose now. It's on the rest of the internet and you can get it. Okay, so it wants to log in with the same account. That's really easy and convenient. Let me try one other window here. I've got the call window, but I need to get the connect me to you window right now. So we're still working on it. They're talking about Steam in the chat. They say, yes, Dan Larimer isn't even involved in Steam anymore. I don't think he's involved in BitShares either. But as you can see from our most popular blockchains, Steam and BitShares are both doing very well, at least in activity. That Dan Larimer guy, whatever he does, he makes things that people use. And in case you're wondering, he's moved on from Steam and BitShares into EOS. So if you believe EOS is a thing that people will use, maybe it's worth taking a shot at. Maybe it's worth getting a little bit. But I think we've done it. We've logged back into the server. So I want to go ahead and say you can give us a call right now at 518-600. I got to change that graphic. It is bad. And 1949. I was using a fun, digital computery font, and I didn't realize that the O's look exactly like 8s. But go ahead and give us a call right now. I know someone was just calling in, but I hung up on them. But if you give us a call now, it'll work out. Um, Say Steam is way undervalued. EOS is not. Plus, our community is huge. So we've got a big Steam supporter in the chat. Shout out. And I'm not so sure about that. I've heard things from people that they think that the EOS system can rebuild everything they do on Steam. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network.
Steam supporter in the chat. Shout out. Hello. And
Can I turn your speaker down?
hello.
Okay. All right. Where are you calling from today? What's your name?
My name is Mustafa.
Oh, Mustafa. Where are you at today,
Arden,
Mustafa?
North Carolina.
What was the city again?
Arden.
Arden. That sounds nice. How's it going today, Mustafa? What's on your mind about Bitcoin?
It's going quite well. I got a few things actually. A few things. Firstly, I wanted to ask you: did you read an article? I saw an article on Reddit yesterday about how Vitalik Buterin came up with this new protocol for Ethereum called Honest, and basically, from what I understood, it is a way for them to prevent 51% attacks.
I saw the article, but I didn't read it. How was he going to prevent these 51% attacks?
Well, basically, it was like he figured out a way, or he's saying that he figured out a way from some other cryptographer back in the 80s that came up with this thing where basically you'd have like a node that all it does instead of like a node that's like verifying the transactions or whatever, instead it would just be monitoring the blockchain for suspicious activity. And because they said that if someone tries to double spend, then the transaction's either going to be a lot faster or a lot slower than normal transactions. And so basically a node would be monitoring that, and whenever it would find it, it would signal alert or something. That's basically what I understood. So it would take, and what they said, it would take 68 minutes for that node to scan the whole network. So basically every 68 minutes it would go through the whole network and check. So you'd have 68 minutes to get away with it, I guess.
68 minutes sounds pretty good. You could do a lot of double spends in that time.
Yeah, it was a little over an hour, basically. So I don't know. I mean, a lot of people were on Reddit. I was just on there last night, and they were like, there was a lot of people saying that it might be a good thing. Oh, and also it would only work with the proof of stake algorithm. It wouldn't work with proof of work. So I guess since Ethereum is saying that they will go switch over to proof of stake, I guess that's what they're going to use as well.
Well, there you go. And now it's sounding interesting because remember, a lot of people are on the fence about this proof of stake switch. Just for people that haven't heard, Ethereum's newest round of upgrades, I think it's called Casper, was to change Ethereum from proof of work, which is like Bitcoin. The miners solve some kind of really hard math problem. And because of that, it takes a bunch of processing power to do. So not everyone can mine. And that's proof of work. Proof of stake is more about holding funds in your wallet. You hold a bunch of money in your wallet, then you stake that or make it available, and then your computer contributes to the network, contributing transactions, adding them to the blockchain. All of that is done by these stakers who sit there with their wallets full of coin on the network. The problem, obviously, with a proof of stake system is the people that have more coin get to make the rules. They get to control the network. With a proof of work system, the people who have more work or more computers, they kind of control the network, but not in the same way. It's a very controversial upgrade that Ethereum's trying to do. And certainly one of the reasons it's controversial is because it would screw over everyone that's mining Ethereum right now. Everyone that's mining Ethereum and supporting their project and has been for years would find their buckets empty if they switch to proof of stake.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm not an advocate of proof of stake or anything. I just read the article, thought it was interesting. Figured I'd share that with you, and because I don't know, I guess according to the article, it says that if it's successful, then it would require someone to gain 99% of the network as opposed to 51% to be able to do any kind of attack. So that's pretty cool if it can ever be implemented on a proof of stake type algorithm. I mean, a proof of work type algorithm, then maybe that would be, it can make a coin stronger,
Yeah, something about it, I think it's tied only to proof of stake. But like they say in the chat, you could still mine Ethereum Classic because Ethereum Classic would presumably be on the old proof of work system. That was the one that split off when Ethereum rolled back.
Yeah, and it's been increasing in value quite a bit, right? So
it got added to Coinbase. That's our modern success story. It used to be you get added to Cryptsy or you get added to BTC-E and you make lots of money, but now it's get added to Coinbase. Although it might not even be that. It might just be have a rumor that you're going to be added to Coinbase, then it goes up. And then when you actually get added, nothing happens.
It's all about the rumors, man. It's all about the rumors.
Buy the rumors, sell the news, right? Yeah.
But hey, I wanted to ask you. You shut down the Skype, I think today or maybe forever. I don't know. But do you think don't you think that nobody like outside of the country is going to be able to call in because they can't make an international phone call, or is there a way to call you from like for free online outside of the country? I don't think so, right?
Well, the way I would say is people should try to get a Gmail account. I'm pretty sure with Gmail you can make phone calls and you might be able to call the US. Maybe people can tell me in the chat if they think that's a good idea. Also, I was thinking that I was going to start alternating. That I'll do calls from the phone for maybe half hour or an hour or something like that, and then I can turn the phone off and I'll do calls from Skype for maybe a half hour. Something like that is a good solution. Right now, I just don't have a solution to keep everything from ringing at the same time. And it's great because people are excited and they want to be on the show. But it's also not great because I can't hear anything with all the ringing sounds. So yeah, we'll definitely try to keep Skype as a,
just mute everything as soon as you take one call. Just mute everything.
Well, they're on the same computer, so I can't mute the computer without muting the caller. So, but we're working through it, and I'm thinking switch off is probably going to be the best. And maybe people in the chat can say, I'm going to call with Skype or I'm going to call with phone or something like that. But I think I'll try to split it better. But we'll do like half an hour phone calls, half an hour Skype, something like that is the way to go. They're saying in the chat I could mute the tab, but Skype has its own window. So maybe I could mute the Google. I don't know. I'm working on it. You guys understand the problem. But yeah, we're definitely going to keep Skype on here. I love the international calls. I don't want to give that up, but I'm never sure what time zone we're in and if people are awake or not. And, one guy's calling me from 4 a.m. I can't judge for that. So, but.
Right. Yeah. So it's really nice to get a perspective of people in different parts of the world and what's happening in their country. Cause most of the time you don't hear any news or any real news of what's happening in other countries unless you actually know someone there. Because if you're just going to listen to the news that we get here in this country, it's definitely filtered heavily, and I got friends in a whole bunch of different places, all over the world. And it's always whenever I hear something on the news about one country and I have a friend there, I call them and ask them about it. And it's usually something completely different than what we hear on the news, so it's cool. It's cool to have some people call in from their countries and tell us what's happening, like how Bitcoin in Saudi Arabia. Speaking of Saudi Arabia, I have some friends in Saudi Arabia, and they're mining Bitcoin over there. I don't know. You said that Bitcoin is banned in Saudi Arabia.
It sounded like trading it was banned. So maybe if they're mining it and holding it and then trading it in another country, maybe that's okay. But I don't know. I would just be very careful with all that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure countries like Saudi Arabia or maybe the like United Arab Emirates, they're pretty strict online, but that's nothing a VPN can't solve. Like for example, in the United Arab Emirates, they're not allowed to do any video calling or any type of calls on like through social media, like using like your Facebook Messenger or Skype or anything like that. You're not allowed to use that, but everybody does. They just download a VPN, they get a VPN service going, and then they have everything back up. So I'm pretty sure that's the same thing in Saudi Arabia when it comes to trading cryptocurrencies. You're just gonna, obviously you won't be able to do any kind of what's it called, know your customer type things. You have to go on all these more shadier exchanges that can let you just go in and do whatever you want without your information, because you're using a VPN, and it's not like you can say you're in Saudi Arabia if you're not, you know what I mean, if you're not trying to be there. But it's still possible.
Putting a lot of trust in the VPN though. You better make sure you have a really good VPN.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's not so risky if you're just making a video call or if you just want to get on Facebook. But if you're dealing with some Bitcoin and stuff, and maybe potentially going against the government, it's definitely risky. But I don't know. I think it's still worth it to be a part of this.
It just sounds like that old saying. Remember, if you can't spot the mark at the table after an hour, the mark is you.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, man, that's really all I wanted to say. Thanks for taking my call. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks so much, Mustafa, for the call. And we'll go ahead and open up some Skype calls. We'll give that a test right now. We'll see how that goes. Okay, so we're going to let Mustafa go, and we're going to open up phone calls on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. You don't have to be in another country, but it would help. Looks like Skype is bouncing and loading right now. Microsoft says it's important to note that Skype cannot be used for emergency calling. And now we are up. We are on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. We do have a couple of people look like they tried to call, but you can give us a call back now on Skype, World Crypto Network, all one word. And we'll keep this open for a couple minutes. And if we don't receive a call in the next 2 minutes or so, I'm going to open up the phone lines again. And then if we don't receive a phone call, then I'm going to read some kind of long poem to you, like Howl or something. It's not a threat. I will do it. But yeah, where's my Hal? Hal is around here somewhere. I have so many tabs. Most of them are Hal. Oh yeah, here it is. The Poetry Foundation. Ding. Okay, so we are holding Skype open for a little while. It's been about a minute. There is a bit of a delay on the broadcast, so I want to make sure you guys get a chance. Oh, here we go. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from? Oh, microphone. No, plug it in. No, volume. Ah, here you are. I can hear you.
I got you. Hey, it's Richard from Seattle. I just have a quick question. When you're giving out the flyers at Fremont Street, what wallet do you download for people? I'm not asking. Just which one is the easiest to do? I've given away quite a bit of Bitcoin, and one of the earlier callers kind of reminded me of my situation. I'm in construction too, and I've been in it for a really long time, so I get a bunch of new people coming around. But usually with them, I have some time, and I load them up with the blockchain wallet. But I was trying to give away some Bitcoin to a homeless guy about a year ago, maybe a year and a half, and he was getting so agitated and frustrated because you have to go through and verify your email. I was surprised that he had a smartphone. It was just too much for him. Do you know of any wallets that are just really, really simple? Just download it. That's it.
It's tough right now because I myself am between wallets. I used to be with Airbits. What I liked about Airbits is they had a username and a password. So worst case scenario, if the user remembers their username and password, they can always get back into their Bitcoin. Because I generally believe even when I give people $1 or $10, they're going to forget about it and they're going to lose it, right?
That's happened to me too. People I've given it to no longer have access. They forgot the PIN.
Yep. Oh boy, a pin. Well, again, if they can't memorize a pin, they're gonna have a hard time with a password. Um, And I agree with you. One of the problems, and it's not a problem, I mean, we could debate back and forth, but one of the things with Airbits is they made you use a hard password. So everyone was always, oh, you have to add an uppercase. No, you have to add a lowercase. And I was like, yeah, they're just going to lose this. This is gone. So I'm still looking for a new wallet. Unfortunately, the guys from Airbits became some new company called Edge. And then they started having all these edge beliefs like the Lightning is a altcoin and therefore we don't have to develop altcoin like Lightning for our Bitcoin wallet. And everyone on Twitter just shouted them down, and they looked like total clowns. And I don't know why they did this. I thought they were nice guys. I've met them. They're
Oh, I
decent
think I
people.
lost you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm still there. But yeah, I was talking about Airbits. They're saying in the chat that green address is simple. So check out green address. What I like or what I don't like about green address is you have to write down your 24 words or your 12 words or whatever. And my friend Max has a fix for that. He's got a piece of paper, like a little flyer that he prints out and he gives to people. And he says, okay, write down your 24 words or whatever on this piece of paper. And it's got lines and everything. I think that's a good way. So I'd say green address is interesting. But I'd have to say I don't even know anymore. I think it comes back to maybe Coinbase. Coinbase has a pretty easy system to use with a email and a username, and then you can recover your password that way. Then the question is, do you give them two-factor authentication and all these kind of things? So I'm still kind of looking myself. People say in the chat maybe Samurai Wallet is good on the Android. Maybe Green Address is really good. It's made by the Blockstream guys. Originally, it was a separate company, but they got bought by them. But yeah, it's not great right now because mainly it's that pinch between security and control, right? You want on one side you want them to be able to access it easily. On the other side, you don't want them to be hacked and have their Bitcoin taken away. So there's not really a great, easy to use wallet for that right now. So not a very satisfying answer, but it looks like we did lose you, unfortunately. Thanks so much for the call. Excellent question. I think we're gonna look for a better wallet. Certainly on my flyer, it says that they can buy Bitcoin at Coinbase or at Cash App. Cash App might be another good option for a wallet, but I'm not sure that they receive Bitcoin yet. I think they only send, and that they also have kind of it's more like tokens. It's more like what Robinhood I think will be like, where you can buy it and you can sell it as an investment, but you can't move it around like a currency. So green address, Samurai wallet, like they're saying, yeah, you're more likely to get yourself locked out than to get hacked. And that's pretty much where we are with the new people. Yeah, they agree with me in the chat that you can't receive with the Cash app. So that's not a good one. Maybe the Coinbase wallet. I don't know. I mean, blockchain.info used to be really interesting because they don't hold the private keys and they don't have access to your wallet. But they've never made a good product, like a wallet that you can really trust. I always hear horror stories from blockchain.info, so I don't really recommend them anymore. So, but yeah, we're working with it. I'll try green address again, but it's the same thing. I have to write down those 24 words, and then I have to have a safe place to put the 24 words and all that stuff. So there's no easy Bitcoin wallet right now. Maybe Coinbase. But thanks so much for the call. And if you'd like to give us a call now on Skype at World Crypto Network, all one word. They're also saying Eclair Wallet might be a good one, or Bread Wallet. Jax. Jax is a browser plugin. I'm not sure if they have an application yet. It's been a long time. I haven't used it recently. But check that out. And it's always good to spread the word about Bitcoin and to get people wallets. Richard mentioned that he was kind of in construction, like our caller from Florida was in, and that they both spread it on the job site. They say Jax has an Android wallet, so that's cool if you got an Android. And yeah, so we're working through those ideas. But we're going to try to keep the show going here, see if we can get some more calls on Skype. And if we don't get Skype calls, I'm going to switch back to phone calls. So I'm opening up the phone call application, and there it is. And now it's a race. You can call us on Skype or on the phone at 518 600 1949. Everybody's talking about all the details of the wallets. Bread doesn't allow you to set the transaction fee. I know that was a big problem with Airbits and other wallets during the price rise in December and January when the fees were really high, and the wallets were hard coded to send a small amount of the transaction fee, so your transactions would always get stuck. That can be a real mess. Let's see what else is going on. They say a Claire wallet allows you to choose the transaction fees. T. Tim says that Ethereum is getting hammered today. Maybe Vitalik should fix it. And let's see. Here we are. Push the button. Hello, caller. You're live on the World Crypto Network. What's your name and where are you calling from?
My name is Hourglass. I'm calling from Arizona.
All right. What's on your mind about Bitcoin today?
Actually, I listen to you quite a lot, Mr. Thomas. I was wondering about what you think about the alternative coins and how they might affect or help the ecosystem in crypto, period.
Sure. Well, we talked about altcoins a little bit the other day, and someone was saying that they take away from Bitcoin by distracting people and taking money and all these things. But in another way, I think they add to Bitcoin because they have full marketing departments, because they have advertising, and because they do things like Dash. Put that advertisement on American Airlines or something. Every time you get on the plane and you look at the screen, it plays a little 30-second spot for Dash. Now, sure, that doesn't help Bitcoin directly, but maybe people get into Dash and then they get into Bitcoin later. So I think in that way, the altcoins support Bitcoin. But the other thing is that everyone gets a bag full of altcoins, and pretty soon their favorite coin is Joe Coin. And they just can't stop talking about Joe Coin and telling people to buy it and telling people how great it is. And this seems to happen every time somebody gets, a whole bunch of altcoins early and tries to promote them. So in that way, it hurts Bitcoin because the people that hear that and then they invest in Joe Coin, maybe too much money, then they lose money. So it's always bad when people lose money, but still, a lot of people I've talked to on this show, they say, yeah, I lost a lot of money on BitConnect, or I lost a lot of money on cloud mining or some other kind of scammy thing. And after that, I realized that Bitcoin was the one, and I put my money in Bitcoin, and now I made a little bit money, and now I'm doing good. So the altcoins are definitely part of this ecosystem. They're not going away. I think they're both good and bad. And it's just important to, keep Bitcoin number one, but still, if you want to gamble, if you want to give this thing a try, buying those altcoins cheap and selling them high is an easy way to make more money. But remember, they also go the other way, and you could lose all your money too. So,
yeah, absolutely. I think I think Bitcoin is the mothership, but I think these altcoins do help support that mothership. At the end of the day, if the more people that are investing in crypto, period, I feel like the ecosystem kind of is a organism in itself, and it'll kind of structure itself as it must. But I definitely feel altcoins have a role. Yeah, good and bad, definitely. Bitcoin.
but what do you think about Bitcoin Cash? Is that an altcoin, or is that some kind of copycat project that is trying to steal from Bitcoin?
That is a get richer scheme of Mr. Roger there. He's definitely he got into Bitcoin, I feel, and he's just trying to capitalize on his early success. Bitcoin Cash, I don't know, man. I feel like every play that they have is just to make people. It's just to hypnotize people. Like this Bitcoin.com thing. Yeah, it's all manipulation. I feel like he's trying to squeeze Bitcoin Cash in there with the originals. I feel like it's going to fail heavily in the coming years. Maybe it might succeed in its own success, but it's not going to be as successful as Bitcoin itself. Definitely not.
I agree, and it's especially bad when Roger does things like take people's tweets that are about Bitcoin, copy them word for word, and change them to Bitcoin Cash. I don't know who he thinks he's fooling, but it's clear plagiarism, and it really embarrasses him, and it embarrasses anyone else that works on this Bitcoin Cash project. I mean, it's just the lowest of the low.
Yeah, absolutely. And the idiots, well, not the idiots, but the people that are less educated that are going to follow that information, um, there's kind of no stopping that. I feel like the more people that get into crypto, just the more influx of people that there are to get into less crypto projects like Bitcoin Cash. Bitcoin Cash is it's an experiment in my opinion. We'll see how that goes in 5 years if it's still around. If it's still top five in 5 years, there might be something to it, whether there is actually something to it or whether they got to more people. Because like we learned from Facebook or any social media platform, network volume is the only thing that matters. If everyone, I heard someone say this, if everyone got off Facebook tomorrow, Facebook would have zero value. Same thing as Bitcoin. So I feel like it's only the matter of how many people use it. It's not really what it is. It's more of how much people use it. Whether that technology is good or bad, if it's bad and a lot of people use it, then it'll fail. The technology has to be good. Bitcoin Cash has that Bitcoin technology, so it just depends on how many people use it. If everyone starts using it, it might be successful, but I don't think so. You know what I mean?
I definitely agree. It's all about the usage. Other things can be fixed, and as we saw, Bitmain spent a lot of their own money to buy this Bitcoin Cash thing to try to convince people that the market was shifting this way, and then the market didn't shift, right? And they lost a whole bunch of money in second quarter, and they haven't been telling people about that. And then I don't think it's going to shift. But I agree with you. There's a lot of new people that are going to be caught in this net, and all we can do is hope that they don't invest too much, and then after they have horrible losses, that they're able to come over to Bitcoin, like the BitConnect people or the Paycoin people or the any of these other scammy coins that come out and do nothing. We need to get those people back into Bitcoin and hope that they aren't too badly burned by something like Bcash.
Yes, sir, absolutely. So, second thing I want to kind of drift upon is I live in Arizona. Arizona, from my research, you can pay Bitcoin, you can pay taxes in Bitcoin. So it's a very, it's a progressive movement in Arizona, I feel, with crypto. If you could pay taxes in quote unquote fake money, then what the hell are we talking about? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you'll have to give it a try and let us know how it goes, because I know for a lot of people, the only thing that they're willing to cash out their Bitcoin for is to pay taxes. And it seemed like for a long time, I thought, that old saying, "Give unto Caesar's that which is Caesar's." It didn't seem like Caesar was ever going to take our Bitcoin, and I was very surprised to hear about the Arizona law, and I'd be curious to see how it goes when you do it. Let me know. Let me know how it goes if you call back during tax season or something, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I'm definitely not the person to be asking about paying your taxes in Bitcoin because Arizona and with all due respect, they could fuck off and not getting anything that I have. Any Bitcoin at least, you know what I mean? They can take that fiat, but Bitcoin, keep holding for 10 years and it's going to be something else. It's this market right now is going to be unrecognizable in 10 years time. Definitely this thing isn't going anywhere. I feel like people are waking up to what the financial system really is, and this is what this is really about. It's not about Bitcoin memes or anything you see on the internet. We need to really wake up, and I think people need to be more about what the system is, what we have really in place, and what and this small thing called Bitcoin is is a secondary option. So yeah, I think. Well, Thomas, what do you think your opinion is on taxes and cryptocurrency in America? Do you think that people should look into that, or do you think it's more of a yet to be said topic?
Well, I think the IRS made a big mistake when they declared it to be a commodity. When they said that Bitcoin's a commodity, it basically means anytime you buy or sell it, you have to pay a tax on that buy or sell. This means that if you use Bitcoin as a currency and you go somewhere and you buy $10 worth of drinks, they want you to, for that $10, to say where you got it, how much you got it for, how much of a gain or loss you got on it, and then how much you spent it for. And if you have to do that every time you buy a soda, it's going to, just be a disaster. You're going to pay more of your money to your accountant than you are going to your tax man. So I think that's a big problem that the IRS has created for themselves. And it seems totally absurd when people try to go through their Bitcoin holdings and figure out where they bought this and that they spent $10 on this. But at the same time, absurdity is the cornerstone of the IRS and the cornerstone of the tax department and everything. So I wouldn't mess with them on the level of absurdity. I advise everyone to pay their taxes in the United States or whatever country you happen to be in. And mainly for me, just to try to understand it as a normal person, doesn't have a lot of accountants and so forth. If I cash out Bitcoin into dollars, I pay taxes on that every single time. And I suggest everyone else do that as well. If you cash out through Coinbase or whatever, Coinbase can make a report for you. I strongly suggest going to that website, something like Bitcoin Tax Report. There's a couple of them competing. You pay them maybe $50. They'll go through and analyze your Coinbase report. They'll link up to exchanges with the API key, and they'll download all of your trades, and they'll do a big report on it. And then you just take that report to your accountant, or you just pay the number on the top of the report. I think that's the way to go. I definitely think there's a lot of people that think they're really smart and they're not going to pay taxes on crypto. And I think that's a huge mistake. It's going to come back on you later. Like, certainly if you just hold the Bitcoin, like you're saying, I think of it as like holding a stock. I'm going to pay taxes on my stocks when I sell them for dollars. I think that's a fair deal. So that's what I think people should do, and they should consult a professional. I'm not a professional accountant, not giving accountant advice. So yeah, it's a tough issue, but yeah, that's basically where I stand on it.
Yes, sir. I believe you. Yeah, you are definitely not. Well, you are very smart, but you are definitely nor most people are account professionals. No one should ever take advice from anyone on the internet like this. But these are all just opinions. Okay, so I know you're not a tax advisor, but so I've been buying Bitcoin ever since almost actually a little over a year, ever since June of 2017. I have never sold for fiat because I was scared of the tax implications. Never sold for fiat. I bought altcoins with Bitcoin. In my mind, in 2017, this was not a tax situation. So I'm sure many people have been dealt with this same situation because I have. How do you feel about taxes if you've never sold for fiat?
Pretty much the same way. If you've never touched fiat with your Bitcoin, you've put your money in an investment and it's still out there in the investment. And certainly you've made gains on the investment, but until you realize the gains and put the money into your account, at least based upon my understanding of the stock market, until I sell my Apple shares, for example, I hold shares and they go up and down. And I don't know, that gives me the option. I could say, oh, Apple's down today, so I'm paying my taxes. That seems like nonsense, right? The stock market goes up and down all the time. The Bitcoin price goes up and down all the time. There's no way to really say that I made USD gains off of that stock until I convert it into USD. So for me, it's all about the conversion. They are saying in the chat, and I don't know about this, you got to look at it, but they're saying It's still taxable even if you never convert it to fiat in the USA. He says it's a new tax law. So I don't know about that. People are disagreeing with him in the chat. Other people are saying if you make a capital gain, you pay. So if you sell your stock for USD and you make a profit in USD, you invested 100, but you sold for 1,000, you would have to pay on that $900 profit. In the same way, if you lost money, you would be able to take that off your taxes if you sold and lost money. But again, yeah, you gotta go to a professional or at least do that Bitcoin tax report thing. It'll analyze all your accounts, and then you can enter the top numbers into TurboTax or whatever you use. But yeah, everyone should pay their taxes. If you don't, it's up to you. And there's people in the chat, and they're very revolutionary, and they have different opinions and all that. But just remember, the only two things that are constant in this world are death and taxes. So don't mess around with either. Yeah.
I do believe in taxes to a certain extent. I think that we need to build our ecosystem in this country structurally. But some tax laws, of course, I don't agree with. I think that yes, me as well as everyone should absolutely contact a crypto or any tax accountant and get that taken care of as far as you can. You know what I mean? So definitely, I do agree with you there. Last question I had here is kind of some. I know you're not anything really. You're just an opinioner. But what do you think will happen if Bitcoin goes under 6,000?
Well, it did go under 6,000 just a couple of weeks ago, and it bounced right back to 8,000 before too long. So I think the same kind of thing, but I don't know how low it's going to go. And basically every time it goes lower, like let's say a big whale sells a whole bunch of Bitcoin and the whole market goes lower, it's mainly because of these trader people. These trader people are looking at these lines on the chart, and if it goes below this line, then it must go below that line. And then they all follow like a bunch of lemmings. So yeah, some rich guy sells, then it breaks two or three of these trading lines, and then all the trading guys sell, and then we go down really close to the bottom, and people start freaking out, and they're like, "Oh, Bitcoin has no value. The whole thing's going to fail." And then somebody smarter than them, probably the guy that sold in the beginning, comes back in with a huge buy and buys a whole bunch low and takes all of your money, and then the price goes back up. I don't know how long that's going to take. That's the main issue here. But generally, that's what I believe will happen all the time, and generally happens all the time, at least until the last time when I'm wrong and Bitcoin goes to zero, or the last time when I'm wrong and Bitcoin goes to like $1 million or something totally insane. It seems like it's always all or nothing with Bitcoin. Either we feel really good and it's going towards $1 million, or we feel really bad and it's going towards $500. It's a lot of sentiment, and it's a lot of trading. So
Yeah, yes, sir. I definitely believe that. I read one time that, well, maybe 2 weeks ago, that there are 33 million millionaires in the world. So obviously, there are 21 million Bitcoins to ever be created. There can't be one Bitcoin per millionaire if this thing ever takes off, which I believe that it absolutely will. I think that this is the future by no stretch. Everything that humans have ever created has been made digital. So the reason that I find that money being digital is just another evolution of that topic. It's absolutely going to be. I think that there's no way stopping it. But if every millionaire try to own a Bitcoin, the price would shoot through the roof.
absolutely. And I think we're getting closer and closer to that. The more and more articles they write about Bitcoin on Wall Street and all the crazy altcoins on Wall Street and all this and that. Pretty soon, if you're a millionaire, you got to be sniffing out there looking for the next big thing. And I think Bitcoin will be that thing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Well, Okay, bonus question, last question. If do you know how much electricity costs? Because I understand that it takes maybe $5,000 to $6,000 of electricity right now to transact one Bitcoin, to gain one Bitcoin. So that's kind of, I don't know if everyone knows this, but that's kind of the why it's sticking there at 3,000 or 6,000. You know, any information about how much these miners make per Bitcoin, or how much it costs to make a Bitcoin, rather?
Yeah, I've heard about the same numbers that you've heard, that it's about $5,000 to $6,000 right now in electricity costs and other things to mine a Bitcoin. But remember that that really only affects miners who are selling their Bitcoins every month to buy electricity. I've heard of other mining firms that are incredibly well capitalized, meaning that they have about $100 million in the bank, and that they have no reason to sell their Bitcoin for electricity costs. They are fully funded as a business, and that they have maybe a 5-year or a 10-year plan to just mine Bitcoin and hold them. So I do think that hobbyist miners would be wiped out if we went below that number, say it's 5,000 or whatever. But there's still professional miners out there who have thought this through and who are in it for the long term, and they're going to win or they're going to lose, right? And it's going to be huge either way, right? And that's the game they play. They want the big gains, they put the big risk in, and they're sitting out there with mining equipment, electricity money, and a huge pile of reserve cash. So somebody's going to mine those Bitcoins. So.
Oh wow. So I, these with the technology like this is literally the only, I can't see this with gold or any other commodity or asset. Rather, maybe health is it looks like China is buying everything in the world. But if this is the only thing that I can see, it literally being kind of normal to see these millionaires become billionaires to trillionaires to quadrillionaires. I think that this is possible. This is not possible today with fiat. I don't think you will ever hear of a trillionaire or a quadrillionaire or multiple people being that. I think that this is one of those technologies that may separate the very, very super rich, not that it already doesn't, but I think that it will even more, to the very, very, very super poor. I really hope that Bitcoin, or any technology rather, helps this system kind of create some equality here. But I think that hopefully not. But like you were looking at that chart, it looks like more people that are rich own Bitcoin rather than the people that are poor. So look, I was looking at those percentages, and you said like 25% or something like that owns 1 to 10 Bitcoin. I've been fairly invested in Bitcoin. I've been investing in altcoins. I do not own Bitcoin yet. So if 25% of own that are invested period own 1 to 10 Bitcoin, and then that's a big separation. Hopefully not, but this is definitely going to create a different financial structure and system if this thing takes off. So definitely, get your 1 Bitcoin and just sit on that and then invest in what the hell ever you want. I suggest everyone get that. Yeah, like I've heard many, many times before, get that 1 Bitcoin and then just sit on it and chill. Because there's definitely going to be a financial stretch in the rich and the poor in the future.
I definitely agree with you, and I think it's really important that people, rich and poor, but kind of especially poor, get their hands on a little bit of Bitcoin right now, because I really do think it could change things in the future. And when I'm handing out flyers in Las Vegas, I tell you the people that are really interested are the people who are working on that street, the buskers, the people that play a musical instrument or dress up in a costume and take pictures with people or entertain people with a magic act, something like that. Those people, they want to hear about Bitcoin. They're interested in this new money. And I really hope that we can get out there and get the poor into Bitcoin and get the middle class even into Bitcoin, because I would like to see the world flipped, where instead of the elite old rich, we have this new computer rich. And again, they might have the same problems, but I'm interested to see what it's like with a different group on top.
Yeah, me too, man. Definitely. We sell key every day. I appreciate your videos, and you kind of like some days, I watch a little bit of his stuff, really mainly for the charts, see what he has to say. But yeah, definitely getting education out there every day. I'm learning every day from your channel. So I really appreciate it, Thomas. Thank you.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your call, and give us a call anytime.
I will, man. Thank you. I'll see you later, bro.
All right. Bye-bye. And we're going to go ahead and head towards the end of the show today. I've got to fix that graphic. those 8s look just like 0s. But thanks again for everybody who called in today. Thanks for giving us all the thumbs up down below. We did hit 200 live viewers. So we had the live premiere of my second handing out Bitcoin flyers in Vegas video right here. We're going to do that again this Friday in Las Vegas. If you're in the area or you're nearby, or you want to, make a trip, you want to visit, maybe you got a bunch of Bitcoin and you don't care about, spending money on hotels or whatever, it would be great to have you. We're going to hand out Bitcoin flyers right here on Fremont Street, just like I did the other times. And thanks again for supporting the show with your thumbs up, and by sending Bitcoin or subscribing to the Patreon, or just by calling in. That helps out a lot too. So thanks so much. I'm going to go do some promotion for my video. I'm going to go try to upload it to Twitter and do all this stuff. And I'm also going to have a great Monday. So I hope you guys too have a great Monday. And until next time, bye-bye.